Hey, y'all.
Welcome back to Y'all Hearing This. My name is Kay. Thank you so much for coming back and joining us.
Yes, and my name is Honeybee, or you can call me B, and whichever you choose is all right with who?
Us.
Period.
That's right.
Yes.
Woo. I'm so excited to get into this one. So,
Yes.
every Wednesday we pick an Arts of the Week. This week, Mr. J-Hope himself, Mr. Jungkook, Mr. Hobie, however you want to call him. The sunshine, our hope from BTS. I love him so much. We do a little bit of a deeper dive. We watch a couple MVs, we watch Dance Practice Live, we watch a guide, and now we talk about it all on the podcast. So I am super excited. So the guide was more of, I think they even called it like a conversation about J-Hope. Which was an interesting way to do it, and I think it did make some great points. Like, what was your takeaway from it, and in general from the week about Hobie?
I think the biggest thing that I really learned about him was the simple fact that he's very detail oriented.
Oh yeah,
and also he is very. I feel like as a group. BTS has this image. Do you know what I mean? Like they have this, like when I saw them perform, I think they performed, was it Butter?
Oh, at the Grammys?
I think it was like American Music Awards or something like that.
Yeah, I think they did Butter.
One of those like
or Dynamite or something.
Or Dynamite, one of them. Again, they were all wearing suits. It was very much like this look. And I feel like in this guide, I also saw his New Year's Eve performance, and I just remember watching and being like, this is completely like different. He's very artsy. Definitely learned about him being an artist. Like he loves painting and illustrations and doing all that. But he's just different. You know what I mean? And like, it's interesting to see how he can form and be, the Hobie in the group, but then it's like outside of it, it's a completely different situation. And I love that. And I also like how I liked how even though the guide was very short, again, it didn't focus on like, just little quips
Random
of his
facts,
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was just like very straight to the point. And I really liked it. And I love how different he is as a solo artist and how it seems like he releases more. And not to say that he's not comfortable doing that as a group or in the group, but again, there's like a time and place based off of whatever the trajectory is with that comeback or with that whatever it is. It's like, they need their space to do their own stuff as they all do. And they've all been doing incredibly well.
Yes.
So I felt like I really got to know him more and to learn more about his love for dancing. That was the big
He really loves dancing.
Like a big takeaway, which helped me pick my B's Nectar of the Week.
Oh, I'm excited. So yeah, for me, Hobie is one of my two biases. I'm a soap girl, so Suga and Hobie. There's something about him. So I have watched a lot of BTS bonus content, like a lot. So there's a show that they did called Run BTS. I think I'm on episode almost 60 at this point. And there's all sorts of other stuff too. I've watched all their Bon Voyages. I've watched all everything's over on our Patreon if you're so inclined. And it's so funny because you will see him perform a song like Bepse or Tear or some of the ciphers that they do, like more rap line stuff. And he's got kind of this like gruff voice and like, and then you watch him on Run BTS and he's on a roller coaster and passes out, or like there's a fly and he freaks out and like runs and hides behind another member.
Not the fly.
A fly. I'm not even kidding you. Like he is so scared of bugs, and they talked about it a little bit in the guide about how he makes like noises, like he makes special effects, like noise effects. He's like doo, 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 doo. Like he does all the time. And all the members when they get together just make each other laugh so much. Hobie laughs with his entire body. He like throws himself against a wall or to the floor, or like it's like the best thing in the world. Like when he gets really going, it's just like this full, like he has no control over his body.
I love that.
It's just full, you know. And he like, I think that is Hobie in a nutshell. He gives his absolute all to whatever he's doing at the moment. If it's laughing, he's on the ground. If it's rapping, he's killing it. Right. If it's writing something or producing something, it's going to be the best thing, you know, he's ever done before. I love him personally. I love his music. I really loved how Jack in the Box came out. So I think I touched on this briefly. I can't remember in what video, where I was just getting into BTS last summer. He had released Jack in the Box maybe like a month or two before I started getting into them. So I came in right after they had the festival last year, where they talked about not a hiatus. A lot of people call it a hiatus, but it's not really. They're just all going to the military and they're doing separate projects kind of in between. But he had just released it. That had just happened. And then Kay finds her way into ARMY, you know? Yeah. So hearing Jack in the Box, it was a little jarring at first because I'm just getting into all their songs that are like, most of them are pretty positive and things like that, and about loving yourself and that sort of thing. And then you have Jack in the Box, which is very much introspective for Hobie and talking a lot about the pressures of being that, you know, the pressures of being everyone's hope, the pressures of being like that bubbly kind of person, you know?
Yes.
So it was jarring, but in the best way, because it also made me realize how much more there was to the group.
Right.
Their solo stuff is just top tier. And he was also the first one to perform in something like, so when he did Lollapalooza, he's the first person to give a solo concert.
Yeah, well, didn't they say he was the first one to just perform at a festival outside of like Korea, yeah.
Well, it's solo, I believe.
No, I thought she said as, because I don't think BTS, I mean, at least I haven't heard of BTS performing at any sort of festivals.
Actually, that's true. That's true. Yeah. That's true. I know, I'm trying to think, because I'm so used to like K-Cons and things like that, but I think that they were like, you know what I mean? They were so big by the time K-Con started that they weren't, you know, they didn't go. I'm
wondering. I feel like
I know that's true.
I don't think they have. That's crazy. First of all, because they're BTS. Like,
yeah.
Why are they not at Coachella and doing all that type of stuff? Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Or not even, or maybe. Well, then again, they could have been asked, but they could have just been busy.
Yeah, that's
true. Or with everything also with the military stuff happening. Yeah. Maybe that'll mark my words. That'll be their comeback. They're gonna headline Coachella in 2025.
Oh, please, girl. They will just use the Coachella grounds and have their own festival.
I'm telling you.
What will happen.
I'm telling you. I mark my words. They don't need to
be part of a festival. They are the festival.
I bet you that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I bet you that's going to happen.
Maybe one of them solo. That'd be awesome.
That'd be kind of dope.
Yeah.
I'm here for that too.
Me too. There's something about Hobie that I love so much. I just love the thought that goes into everything he does. Like I said, just his whole everything goes into everything that he does. And he's such a support for the members. Yeah. He is kind of like a little bit of the mom of the group-ish, you know. I wouldn't say totally, but yeah, he's definitely the one who's like always there supporting. And I think one of my favorite moments, and I think we talked about this a little bit when we were doing the lives, is when he was doing Hobie Palooza, again, first solo concert ever. And people were like singing back everything, including the Korean words, and this is in Chicago, you know? And he just like looks out at the audience and is like amazed that so people know the words, that people like are so into it that, you know, even at this festival that not necessarily are, you know, all BTS fans, that people are there and representing, and like,
that's fire.
I love it. The look on his face is just so, it made me want to cry and give him a big hug and be like, you did it, dude. Like, it's totally everything. I love him. So and I mean, we haven't even touched on his dance, but yeah, his dance is amazing.
Yeah. That was, again, my biggest takeaway from the live. I mean, from the guide.
So he recently did a collaboration before he went to the army with J. Cole, who's one of his absolute idols.
Yeah.
And there's some really cute footage of him meeting J. Cole. I think it was at Lollapalooza. I think that's where they first hooked up. So it's really cool to see him be able to work with people he
really admires.
Exactly. Both Korean and, Western. So yeah.
Oh, child, is this a good time?
I think it is. I'm excited because you're talking controversy here. So
this is going to be very controversial.
Okay, so first of all, tell us what Bee's Nectar of the Week is, please, sir.
So, Bee's Nectar of the Week is a segment in the show where, obviously, you guys know every week we feature a K-pop artist or group, and we do some MVs, watch a guide, learn more about them. And what Bee's Nectar of the Week is, it's kind of the same thing, but basically finding an artist outside of the K-pop realm and basically an artist that relates to or makes me think of or whatever the case may be in the liking of the artist that we are featuring that week on our episode. And I usually start off with giving hints to Kay.
I know. I'm afraid.
So, well, no, I'm giving a little disclaimer because I just had recently a really deep conversation about just when people do, like, somebody had asked me, this is how it started. Within the last month, I had this really deep conversation because somebody had asked me if you could separate the controversy from, like, the artist, no matter what field it is, music, acting. And at that time, we were talking about an actor.
Okay.
About whether you could separate the stuff that they've done and, and go with that. And I was like, it's case by case. For me personally, it's case by case.
Okay.
Like, when I think of R. Kelly,
okay,
do I listen to R. Kelly's music? Anymore? Technically, yes, because R. Kelly, you can't take away the fact that he has created and he was a musical genius. Okay, when it came to R&B and stuff. But do I listen to his music directly? Yeah. I don't listen to R. Kelly's music. And not just because, well, partially because I'm just kind of like, I'm not going to put money in your pocket.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Also, the money, now that I look at it, the money doesn't go in his pocket. Now it goes into his kids' pocket who have to live past everything, whatever. But I just don't feel in my soul that I could listen to his music specifically.
If he put out an album, you wouldn't go buy it.
I wouldn't go buy it.
You wouldn't
but
stream.
But I definitely listen to all the music he's ever produced because it's very vast and I can't take away from his talent that he really had an ear. So it was like one of those conversations.
Yeah.
I personally love conversations like that because it opens my eyes up because I want to grow as a person.
Sure.
And I try not to be, I used to be that person where I was like, no, this is how I see it and that's it. Like, I don't care. This is what they did. I ain't doing it. But it really opened my eyes up to really kind of broaden the perspective. So that's how I feel about the artist that I picked this week, because the artist that I picked this week, minus the controversy, this person, like, if that controversy and all that wasn't there, I could totally see, Hobie and this person collaborating if they haven't already, or if maybe they're planning it. Because they really are, literally, as I was watching that guide, I'm like, these two are into the same exact things.
Really?
And they both value the art of everything. And they don't play when it comes to their art, which is another thing I learned from this guide, which is why I love him even more, is because he is so serious about his dancing and the presentation of it. Like that whole making of the chicken noodle soup video with Becky G, that was incredible. Like the way that he just incorporated everybody, all genres of music, all like the different ethnicities that was there. Like, I wasn't even bothered the way he had his hair. Like that, because it made sense. And it wasn't in a weird, like, oh, let's just do it because it's a thing to do. No, he was like paying homage to literally where he was, to the music that he was making. Like, you can't fake that shit. Like, he really, truly cares. And that's why, for me, I guarantee people from my community are all supporting him. Yeah. Because he's dope. So, With that being said,
Uh-huh.
your 3 hints
Oh, God.
are obviously this person has controversy.
Yes, yes.
Let's see. They came out as a young artist.
Okay. All right.
And
I'm a little frightened.
the controversy that happened, he has tried to, I don't want to say, I feel like he's tried to, now, as he's gotten older, I feel like he has tried to learn from his mistake.
Okay.
And has actually, put his money where his mouth is type of situation. And I think that it makes it easier for me personally. With this artist, I can separate that from his music.
Okay.
And it's a male artist.
Okay.
Obviously. So
my first instinct is say Chris Brown.
Yep.
Here's what I'm going to say about that before we get going.
Yes.
I don't know enough about the situation to be an ultimate person.
Yes.
I don't listen to him.
Yes.
I haven't.
Yes.
Because of the controversy, because of what it was.
Yep.
I think, and I'm not saying that males can't have the same opinion as female, men and women, that sort of thing. But I think as a female, it hits a little different.
Right.
And so, I don't know enough about it to be some sort of ultimate judge on the subject.
Right.
He puts a sour taste in my mouth.
Yes. And you know what's funny? And this is the reason I was able to pick him. In the conversation I was having, right? Made a really good point. It was like, obviously, so Chris Brown is known for, he had an altercation with Rihanna.
Yes.
Back on the night before the Grammys in 2008. And, I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people were like, well, nobody deserves that. Period.
No.
Number one. I hate when people are like, well, she did this and she didn't know.
It doesn't fucking matter. Not unless she threw first punch or something. Do you know what I mean?
So
and even
at
then,
that, technically she did.
Okay.
But that still doesn't mean,
a
lot of it, and he even explained this. He did a documentary about it. A part of the reason he reacted the way he did is because he grew up in an abusive household, which is not an excuse, but I guess I understand why he just reacted that way, because he was so used to seeing his mom be violently abused to the point where he would pee himself under the bed and all this other stuff. So it doesn't make it right, but it made sense as to okay, well, that makes sense why you acted like that. You didn't have to act that way, but it made sense why you went to that, because that's all you were around. But again, people have choices, so you didn't have to do that. But that's beside the point. The thing that got me, that made me help me separate the two, was the simple fact that the person I was talking to about this made a really good point. And she was like, do you know how many people we celebrate and call legends?
Oh, for sure.
And they have done so much, right? Specifically, they were talking about how Sean Penn supposedly beat Madonna.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back in the day, got arrested for it and everything. Considered one of the greatest. You know what I mean? It still gets recognized and awards and all this other stuff. And even artists, I can honestly say for me growing up, I have never seen the amount of scrutiny that Chris Brown got for that Rihanna situation on anybody else that has been doing this for years, or that has been doing
But counterpoint to that is that it was not as prevalent to side with the woman. It was not as prevalent to not take that as boys being boys. Do you know what I mean? I think our thinking has moved forward, and so I think that's why the scrutiny was there. Do you know what I mean? Because I think we were coming into the Me Too era of things and that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree with, but I also do feel, I'm saying this as a whole Black person.
Yeah. Yep.
There definitely was way more scrutiny on him, because a lot of the other people over the years that have been in these type of predicaments were white. And
totally give you that.
And it's just
give you that.
So I do feel like they blew him up. And I think the crazy part about it was it just wasn't a good look. And for me, I don't care what anybody says. I will never understand. I can't justify to just be like, you know, it's water under the bridge.
Yeah.
They were young. They were this or that. No, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because also, too, you have to look at what you've done since then. And obviously, he hasn't done anything like that. But I definitely feel like for the rest of his life, there's always going to be scrutiny on him.
Yeah.
And I don't feel bad about that because you set that up for yourself.
Yeah, you sure did.
But the problem is, though, is that for the rest of his life, there's scrutiny on him. But then, like I said, all the other people that have done this over the years who are still major actors and singers and all that stuff, there's no scrutiny on them. They don't get called out for the horrible things that they've done religiously. There's no puns. There's no jokes. Like, so for me, I'm like, that's where I just feel like we need to really rethink the way that because if we're going to do that same thing with Chris Brown.
Yeah.
It should be done with everybody. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I am not saying punish Chris Brown, everyone else gets a pass.
Right.
When I find out more things about people, it changes my opinion.
Yes.
So if I find out something
and
like
that's
that
what
thing
I'm
with
saying.
Sean Penn,
yes.
I'm not a Sean Penn fan.
Right.
I don't go out I don't think he's done a movie in a while, but I don't, do you know what I mean?
But it's like stuff like that. Like there needs to be more light brought to.
Yes, but I still don't think Chris Brown gets any sort of pass for that.
No, he doesn't at all.
Yeah.
But other people have. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that's
good
right. In any way,
it's not good.
I think it needs to be equitable across the board.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
For sure.
Yes.
But I'm not going to lie.
No.
Having J-Hope being compared to Chris Brown puts a really bad taste in my mouth. Really bad taste in my mouth. And I understand.
Yeah.
I understand your reasoning.
Yeah. It's the but you also have to look at it from the artist standpoint.
Yeah.
Not as a person.
I'm trying.
And that's where for me, that's easy for me.
And I'm not saying that you think J-Hope
no, not at all.
That.
But I think from an artist standpoint, I don't think anybody could deny. And that's just because I actually am like a fan of Chris Brown's music.
I know next to nothing.
Yeah. And that's why it's like, for me, it's easier to compare the two. And also too, so Chris Brown, like the biggest reason that I really picked him too was that Chris Brown is actually an extremely talented artist. Mm-hmm. Like does paintings. He has his own galleries. He does cool. Like graffiti art, like all that stuff. Has done benefits and raised, like I said, trying to write, and learn from his own situation that he did. He does these different benefits. He donates to different foundations. He educates himself on like anger management, stuff like that. Like he has, he's doing the work. Again, that's not excusing what the fuck happened.
Right.
But at least he's making an effort. It's not like one of those things where it's like, I'm a celebrity, so we're just going to sweep it under the rug.
I do give him that. I do give him that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's why, for me, I'm focusing on the artist, Chris Brown.
Okay.
Not the person.
Yep.
So when it comes to him as an artist, I definitely see how they could be compared, because Chris Brown is also considered, as far as his dancing, Chris Brown is literally like, they hold him up there to Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
And he even did a Michael Jackson tribute that went viral because it was one of his first performances after the whole Rihanna situation happened. Mm-hmm. And he got extremely emotional because it was when Michael Jackson died. And the whole reason Chris Brown, in every interview, he says the whole reason he does music is because of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So like, it was so heartbreaking to see him just, because it was also, he was letting it out for Michael Jackson, but he also was letting it out because he knew like he had a lot, he has to prove himself again. You know what I mean? And it was just, that moment was just big. But his performances on every award show, he's all about dancing, and he can sing his face off. And so when I think of, J-Hope, I just think of how he is so serious about his music and his presentation and his fashion choices. Like Chris Brown has the same fashion choices. Like they both are two peas in a pod. If I saw them make a video together, I would probably be like, holy because they really are that talented. So just to give you guys a little quick rundown with Chris Brown, he was born in 89. He's a rapper, dancer, actor. He's a graffiti artist, an illustrator, and an entrepreneur. He is undoubtedly a multifaceted artist and made history being the first male lead artist to have his debut single top the Hot 100 in 8 years.
Oh, nice.
With the song Run It from 2005. He's the proud father of 3 children. And Royalty, which is actually named after his 7th studio album, Aiko and Lovely. Chris's career is decorated with accolades. He, at the 54th Annual Grammy Awards 2012, his 4th album won Best R&B Album, which is his only Grammy album to date. He has also won a mammoth number of awards and nominations ranging across all genres over his career that spans his decade-spanning career. On June 6th, 2022, Chris Brown took Elvis Presley's spot as the artist with the most Hot 100 entries.
Oh, wow.
Chris's career is long-lived, pristine, and all about the music, such as his hits Go Crazy, No Guidance, Turn Up the Music, Loyal, and Forever. He also asserted himself as a valued artist with successful collaborations like on Omarion's Supposed to Be and Lil Dicky's Freaky Friday. Commercially, his best-selling albums are his debut and sophomore efforts, Chris Brown and Exclusive, which both were triple platinum. He has hit songs like Look at Me Now, She Ain't You, like just kind of looking down this list, Take You Down, he just, and his range too of his actual music, he's known for being super eclectic. So he does dance music, he does hip hop, he does R&B, he does ballads. He has his most popular like pop song is a song called With You. And then in 2017, he released his own autobiography documentary called Welcome to My Life. The documentary provided an insight look into his life of music, living in the spotlight, his past relationships. It also saw Chris open up about pleading guilty to felony assault on his ex-girlfriend from 2009 and his stint in prison in 2014. Mm-hmm. So when you look at his art and everything like that, mm-hmm. Which this could be a great say what topic about whether, which say what is how we like to close out our episodes, or palate cleanser. I really honestly, before having this conversation about just being able to separate the artist and their work, that's the biggest thing. I think that's a great question, is how can you, or how do you separate the controversy and the artist? And for me, and just like how you said, for me personally, it's about learning more, mm-hmm. reading more about it, mm-hmm. getting more info about it. Mm-hmm. In this case, I've known Chris Brown's music since he first came out. I remember when he debuted, I had his albums, you know what I mean? I listened to all of his music. I don't listen to it as much anymore because I like earlier Chris Brown than newer Chris Brown. But for me, I really had to learn like how to do that, because I've never been able, like the second I heard that, I refused to listen to anything from Chris Brown. Yeah. I was like, no. Right. First of all, I love Rihanna. Like if if I had to choose between being a fan of the two, I would always pick Rihanna 100% more. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I love her music and all that. But it did make me think about, just in general, about not necessarily giving people, I don't want to call it a second chance. It's like, how do you distinguish when an artist has learned from that mistake? And how do you separate? Because I really do feel like it's case by case. Because again, I don't listen to R. Kelly.
It's really tough for me to separate. Almost impossible sometimes.
Right.
And I think it also depends on what they did.
Right.
Like if it was being stupid and making some stupid jokes and being something like that, like 10 years ago, whatever, and you come out and you apologize and you know, like you were saying, what Chris Brown is doing, which I didn't really know of him trying to kind of like educate themselves and that sort of thing, then you know what, like I'm not saying you get a pass, but at least I'm willing to give you another chance.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But when it comes to things like assault, when it comes to things like that, it's like I always loved Kevin Spacey, an actor.
Yeah.
I love him in so many things. Ever since I found out about him, you know, just assaulting quite a few people have come forward.
Yes.
And I believe he's been found guilty a couple times. I could be wrong on that. Right. But anyway, very credible sources, you know. I can't watch his movies anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's very rare for me to be like, oh yeah, let's watch a Kevin Spacey movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's really tough for me to separate something of that magnitude. I am all for giving people an opportunity to better themselves. But I think there are certain things, to me, that are you're not able to come back from. And that's why, like, the R. Kellys of the world, I just would never. He was never really, you know what I mean? It wasn't my.
I mean, another perfect example I think is absolutely hilarious is Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Like, Elvis, like, a whole pedophile, like a whole just out here.
There are so many things like when I find out about things like that, that's when, but sometimes you don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's just like, it blows my mind. And the crazy part about that is like, I was never an Elvis fan, number one, but like, just because I didn't grow up on that, you know what I mean? But also too, a lot of it had to do with the fact that like when I was in college, I started researching like the history of Black music or, you know, just R&B music, blues music. And like, you learn so much about like Big Mama Thornton and like all these people who came out with these songs. And because they were African-American, they weren't playing their music. So you hear about artists like Elvis Presley. You hear about
stealing the sound. Well, not even stealing, borrowing, whatever, however you want.
Well, literally taking songs, like literally taking full blown songs and like remaking them as if it's their own. Yeah. But it's like you read all that about that. So that already put a bad taste in my mouth. But then it's like you learn about his history. Yeah. And I'm like, and we idolize him. Like, that blows my mind. So it's like, again, we have somebody like that who's being idolized and considered the greatest and the king of rock and roll and all this other stuff. But then it's like...
But here's the thing. I think it's like, for me, Elvis doing that and Chris Brown doing that are equivalent. And so, therefore, I don't listen to either. Do you know what I mean? Like, once I learned about that, you know what I mean? And it's awful that we don't know more about things that happened that long ago. Do you know what I mean? That long ago, I say. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not right. And it's definitely very racist. Right. You know what I mean? I am not saying it's not in any way, shape, or form. Because, we are definitely way harsher on Black artists. For sure. No denying that. Absolutely not denying that whatsoever. But I think to me personally, once I find out something of that magnitude, it's kind of a forever taint. You know what I mean? And I try not to just do, I heard one thing on like E-News or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I try to like do
actually like look into
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think for me, I just, because of how much I love music, like and honestly, because I do know more about Chris Brown's music, I think that's why for me, when I look at, Hobie and Chris Brown, it's like, they literally, like, he could be the, K-pop version of Chris Brown because they both can dance their asses off. They both can sing. Yeah. They both can rap. They both are artists. And it's like, I think in the perfect world to see them collaborate would be incredible. I think it would be so inspiring for new dancers, for new generations. I think it would be another way to just show the blending of different worlds. You know what I mean? But I think that, you know, it's really taught me to learn how to separate the personal from the artist.
For me, I would
It's just
hate
like-
every second of that collaboration. I would.
But that's
hate it.
also because
I'd be mad.
right.
I would
Right.
not be happy.
Which is like understandable because you don't listen to Chris Brown and you don't listen to his music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's harder for you to separate. And I get that. But that's also because you don't know about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people can say the same thing about me when it comes, you know, to R. Kelly, but at the same time, that's, you know,
yeah.
I don't know. That was something that was continually like,
I feel like I'm sorry, it's tough and it's tough. I know that I'm being very judgmental when it comes to stuff like this, but there's something about it. There's something
it's personal.
About
you know what I mean? That's your
really
personal.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
it's very
it's
personal.
personal.
That
you know what I mean?
And it's very personal.
Which, you know, and I get it. And it was not for nothing. It was personal for me too. And once I learned to, somebody just made it. It's just that conversation opened my eyes up because I was very personal when it came to Chris Brown. I was like, no.
Yeah.
But then it's like, all right, well, if you're gonna be personal with him, you need to be personal with everybody else.
Oh, I totally agree.
And you know what I mean? It's like, I can honestly say it's like, I don't know, like, imagine the stuff we don't know. Like, that does kind of run through my mind.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, I'm sure.
like, what if one of my favorite, God forbid, what if something came out about Beyonce?
Yeah.
I'd be like,
you know what? Perfect.
I'd be devastated. I don't even know what I would do.
Latest, what's coming out with like Lizzo? Like, I don't know what to believe. I don't want it to be true. Lizzo, like, I'm sorry. Lizzo is like responsible for my transformation over the last couple of years. Like, she is someone I found that like, inspired me in so many ways. And oh my God.
I didn't even think about that.
Lizzo, like,
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like that.
I will tell you, since it happened and I don't know enough, I haven't listened to any of her music.
Yeah.
Because I'm torn.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I will say the only thing that I heard about that is, listen, this is Say What Sex, so we keying over here.
Right.
The one thing I will say that I did hear about that is that supposedly when this stuff happened, like these same dancers and people that are accusing her of all this stuff, like proceeded to still talk about how amazing she is and all this other stuff, which I don't know if you can really judge somebody off of that because that's like a victim having, what's that syndrome where it's like,
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, like type of situation where it's like you become close to your captor. Like that is a truth. Like, you know what I mean? So, but I will say the things I have seen is like a lot of these dancers or whatever that have said all this have either A, gotten fired or have B, got caught in line. So they've recanted their stories.
Gotcha.
So, but the thing is, this is how America works. Regardless if it was recanted and they find out that it's not true, that will always be associated with her name.
Like I said, I don't know enough. It breaks my heart.
Right. But here's the thing. Even if it's not true, it's still breaking your heart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you heard it and her name being associated with such horrible shit. And it's like, that's the shit
like,
it can't.
Just the anti-ness of her to her whole platform.
Right.
You know
Which
what I
goes
mean?
with like cancel culture. It's like, we're so quick to cancel somebody now.
Yeah. And like I said before, I don't think this is on the same level as a Chris Brown. You know what I mean? But
it's like finding out something that you like about somebody. It's like, damn.
Especially when it's like one of your favorite artists. Like oh my God.
Because I loved Chris Brown and Rihanna together. They were really like the next up and coming, like the way that people looked at Jay-Z and Beyonce, they were like looking at them like the younger version of Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Oh yeah, I remember loving them. And I do remember liking his music, that what I've heard, you know, like his first stuff.
Earlier stuff, right.
Yeah, you know.
I will say I did stop listening to him for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, and I still don't, I'm not like,
I mean, here's the thing. If like his debut song came on the radio, it's not like I'd be like, oh my God, I can't listen to it. But I would never like seek it out.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. I feel that.
That's my level. Like, I'm not like, bruh, never can even cross my ears.
Right. He's the devil.
Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. But I wouldn't go stream a song.
Right. Like, I'm not out here trying to buy Chris Brown tickets.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I just.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, but from an artist standpoint, I can.
It's just super tough for me to separate the two.
Because it's your personal. I get it. Because you look at it from a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
Like I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people do. But for anybody who doesn't, and you are able to separate, I definitely think that people will be able to see the comparisons and everything.
I didn't know quite a lot about what you said about Chris Brown. I didn't know. I kind of remember him dancing, but I remember him more as a singer. So, what I mean?
He's actually, and that's the crazy part is like, for the longest, I mean, still to this day, people still consider him like damn near a reincarnation of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Because
I
the way he
remember
performs
him doing that thing, but
yeah, he really is like a machine. He writes and produces all his own music.
Yeah,
he choreographs stuff. He always brings in new, young, up and coming choreographers. Nice. He works with a lot of female choreographers. Like he tries to keep everything open. He has a co-ed dance team. Like it wasn't just all males. Like he really like.
I'm glad he's putting his money where his mouth is.
And that's what it is.
I'm glad he's doing the work. Will it still ever make me like him?
No,
probably not.
No. But also, like, I think it comes down to like,
but I do
embracing change and embracing. I think it's embracing of like moving forward. Now it's like you're always gonna have that camera on you. Yeah. You're always gonna have it on you because you put that.
I'm gonna liken it to the unforgivable curses in Harry Potter. There are certain things that people like. It's the worst thing they can possibly do, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
To me.
Yes, and I agree. I just think that we have to keep that same energy.
Yeah. We shall agree to disagree this episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel you. I feel you. Listen, I respect, and that's the thing. It's like we need more people to have conversations like this and be able to respect each other.
For sure.
Without,
I'm not judging you for liking
at all. No,
like,
and that's the thing. It's
you
like,
do you, I'll do me.
Yeah. But it's like, and it's even like, I think it's a stretch to even say that I like Chris Brown.
Yeah.
But like,
appreciate his artistry.
I can appreciate what he has done for the music.
What? I'll give that to him too.
Yes.
I appreciate
that's
his
what
artistry.
It is. Yes. His artistry, I appreciate, and I can compare it to
Hobie's artistry.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's it. Just the artistry.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Hobie can't even hurt a fly, literally.
At all. Literally. That's why I'm like, y'all, please don't come for me because I am not comparing them as people because they are two separate people.
Oh yeah, very separate.
Do I like Chris Brown as a person? No.
Yeah.
And that's also, I had an experience with Chris Brown, believe it or not.
Oh,
actually,
really?
I was going to put it out here. So, we used to do this thing called Tiny Chat.
Okay.
And it was, shout out to my homegirl, Tanisha Kelly. She is a singer, songwriter, absolutely incredible. And she would do these things called Tiny Chats, which were back in the day, like the first version of Zoom.
Oh, okay.
So we would do Tiny Chats, and she would be working with different artists and stuff. And she had one time had all of us in a room, and she was FaceTiming, or she had invited to the room. It was a room that had, it had Drake.
Oh, wow.
There was a bunch of people in this room, and they were all playing video games. I think it was Justin Bieber, Drake, and Chris Brown.
Okay.
For whatever reason, they were together. I don't know the specifics of how they were all together, whatever the case may be.
Is this pre or post?
This was...
Ooh. Might have been post.
This might have been right before it happened.
Really?
This was like 2008, 2009-ish.
Right.
Like,
all right.
So it was like around that time. But they had come into the room and they were proceeding to make fun of everybody that was in that room.
Oh, really?
And was just like, and Tanisha was not having it.
Yeah.
Tanisha was like, what you're not going to do is come in here and disrespect my fans and supporters. They're like family to me. Like, y'all going to have to fix that shit and come correct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she was and like, they said, I mean, I remember I was made fun of, like, something was said about my weight or whatever the case may be.
Oh, come on.
And like, something was said about like somebody else. And it was just like, it was just very like, these are people that support and listen to your music. And y'all are going to come up in this room and like, listen, I understand people are young. They make mistakes. They were all young and stupid. And it was a mistake. We've all done that. And I'm sure like now that they're older, they probably look back on situations that maybe have happened like that and been like, damn, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the time, that's what put a bad taste in my mouth, which is why like for me, I've never really listened to a lot of them. And honestly, I mean, they've been through so much over these years. They probably don't even remember it happening.
Yeah.
But it was just the simple fact that like, it was enough that people in that room probably still remember that happening.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
of course they
so
do.
for me, that's why it was like, so as a person, I personally, and I don't know Chris Brown personally.
Sure.
He could be completely different, whatever the case may be. But just off of that experience, it just was like,
oh, I would be totally turned off.
That turned me right off.
Yeah.
But that's why, again, I've learned how to separate the two. But,
especially because it was
like,
specifically personal to you.
Yes.
Like,
so that's why I'm like putting it out here. Like, y'all don't be trying to come for me because I'm not out here being like, yes, team Chris Brown
apologist. Right.
No,
right,
I'm saying if you look at their artistry, you have to just respect their artistry.
Yeah.
And
see, I'm sorry if someone said something about my weight. I would never listen to a word they said after that. I don't care how much work they did.
I tried, but at the end of the day, I love music.
I'm actually proud of you that you've been able to move past that because I would not. I just would not have been able to.
I had to because my love for music was, I had to make a choice of, do I want to hold on to that?
Yeah.
Or do I want to hold on to something that makes me happy? Yeah. And what makes me happy and fills my heart is music. And I was like, let me just replace that energy because I don't want to hold on to this.
That's probably healthier.
And it's hard as fuck. It is. It's hard as, but you know what? You got to come to that on your own. Yeah. It's hard as hell. It is so hard. But, you know, that's why I can confidently say from an artist standpoint, Hobie and Chris Brown, they're there. You know what I mean? But from a personal standpoint, Team Hobie all day. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Team anyone else all day. Sorry.
Listen, girl.
Hermione's even like, bitch.
Right, she is. She said, let me stand up and get in this.
Like, excuse me.
She's like, I know you fucking lying. I in this house.
Excuse me. Do you forget about Rihanna? Okay.
No, see? And that's the thing. We're not forgetting about Rihanna.
Yeah, I know. We are.
Never.
We are.
And we won't forget about y'all.
That's
and
right.
Honestly, let us know how you feel. This is a great topic.
I know. It really is.
This really is a great
this
topic.
Definitely was. Yeah. Wow, this is a really long podcast, actually.
Oh, wow. This is extra long. Okay.
We're giving you double time.
Right.
But I think that was important to talk about.
It was.
And I think it's important, too, that, like, we don't always agree on everything.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I think that's cool that we can talk and respectfully discuss.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is what agreeing to disagree should look like.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like people attacking each other and stuff.
Yeah.
Hence why our whole conversation about social media in previous episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect example. And that's why I love you because you are, you know what? You come with how you feel and it empowers me to be confident as well in how I feel and also to learn more and to open my horizons, which is, you know, shout out to anybody that's ever been in both of our lives that have helped us really just kind of look at things from different standpoints.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Neva, because Neva, we had this whole conversation actually about Chris Brown before.
Cool. You know, I still need to meet her.
Yeah, I know. We gotta set this up.
I know, we really do. I know, because I think it would get along like two of us. Like, I think it would be perfect, but yeah.
We gotta get y'all in the same
I know,
room.
we really do. We really do. But thank you guys so much, as always, for coming and checking us out. Hopefully you enjoyed our very twist and turn conversation there. But yeah, I think it's something important to talk about for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we love you guys. Thank you so much for coming and checking us out. See you next time. Bye.